First of all, good afternoon, Excellencies, colleagues, guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. First of all, my name is Abou Amani. I'm the Director of the Division of Water Sciences here at UNESCO, and also I'm the Secretary of the Intergovernmental Hydrological Program of UNESCO. I'm very, very pleased to welcome you on behalf of the UNESCO Natural Science Sector Assistant Director General, Shamila Ner Bedouel, who will have loved to be here with you today, but she has other commitment. She will not able to join us today. But I'm very pleased to be here with you for this joint UNESCO World Federation of Engineering Organization joint event on the strategic role of engineering for accelerating the delivery of the Agenda 2030. This event is organized along the sidelines of your board meetings. At the outset, I wish to thank the Federation, the World Federation, for its long-standing support and cooperation with UNESCO since its inception in 1968. Created under the auspices of UNESCO, the World Federation of Engineering Organizations has continuously been a valuable partner to UNESCO in advancing its mandates in the field of engineering. Allow me to highlight, among other recent partnership achievements together. First, you may recall the creation of the UNESCO World Engineering Day for Sustainable Development, which was approved during the UNESCO General Conference in 2019, and for which we are all celebrating the day on 4th March to raise the visibility and the importance of engineering. The second joint achievement, I think, which is also important to highlight here, is the second edition of the UNESCO Engineering Report on Engineering for Sustainable Development, delivering on the Sustainable Development Goals officially launched last year in March during the celebration of the Engineering Day. And this is in the context of accelerating action to deliver on the SDGs. I want also to highlight another contribution, which I believe is important, even though it was at local level, based from one of your entities, contribution of the World Federation in the training of water technicians in Africa. And I think this is very, very important aspect, water, but I will come later on it because of my responsibility of water program within the organization to see to what extent also you can collaborate on that aspect. This event aims to present the UNESCO World Federation of Engineering Partnership and contribution to the SDGs by working with member states, especially on engineering capacity building and education, and how it's relevant to the variety of regional and national contexts with regard to building more inclusive and responsible communities. Training more engineers with the right skill in line with SDGs is crucial in supporting countries to implement the 2030 Agenda and other global agendas, including the Paris Agreement on Climate Change and the Sendai Framework on Disaster Risk Reduction. The role of engineers in building more resilient infrastructures is essential. I'm looking forward to cooperating with the World Federation of Engineering Organizations in that regard, and in enhancing capacity of water engineers in addressing complex interrelated water challenges in support of SDG 6 and other related SDG targets, because we know that water is permeating all across the 17 SDGs, and we believe that without engineers, it will be difficult to achieve SDG 6. We may recall that still, unfortunately, 2 billion people, I'm really putting the word, 2 billion people, unfortunately, don't have access to clean water. And we cannot achieve SDG 6 if engineers are not mobilized and provide their own contribution to putting in place infrastructure, water supply, all the necessary equipment to deliver water to people. And in that regard, really, I'm excited to see to what extent we can work together to move forward the issue related to water. And I want also to invite you, I don't know if you are already involved, regarding the preparation next year of the UN 2023 Water Conference. I was just back from New York yesterday during the preparatory meeting of this conference, where the themes of the interactive dialogue were identified and approved. There are 5 of them: water for health. I think this is important for the engineer. Water for development, extremely important for engineers. Water for climate resilience, adaptation. Water for cooperation. And also water to accelerate the water action decade. So those are the 5 interactive teams which are considered. So really, I'm encouraging you to see to what extent the engineers, the federation, could be more active and involved, and also we can work together. So today's agenda will comprise 3 sessions with esteemed speakers. The first session will shed light on UNESCO and the World Federation of Engineers Organization long-standing history of partnership for engineering. The second session will focus on recent milestones and key initiatives. And the third one is a roundtable on mobilizing engineers for UNESCO member state priorities. I hope you will find this event to be a fruitful one to enable future collaboration in the field of engineers. It is my pleasure to now declare this event open. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Abou Amani, for those very kind words and for showcasing the work that WFEO is doing in partnership with UNESCO. My name is Dr. Marlene Kanga. I'm the past president of the World Federation of Engineering Organizations, 2017 to 2019. In fact, when World Engineering Day was declared. So thank you for recognizing that achievement. So today's session is really to showcase our partnership projects and the achievements that have been made. So firstly, it gives me great pleasure to welcome Mr. Ezra Clark, Director of the Division of Science Policy and Basic Sciences at UNESCO. Mr. Clark, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Kanga. And good afternoon to everybody. Excellencies, distinguished speakers, panelists, presenters, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to address you today at the UNESCO World Federation of Engineering Organizations joint event. WFEO has been an important associate of UNESCO since its inception in 1968. Created under the auspices of UNESCO, WFEO has continuously been a valued partner to UNESCO in furthering its mandate in the field of engineering. UNESCO and WFEO have collaborated in furthering engineering education and capacity building, as well as women engineering in more recent years. And I recall with gratitude the contributions and support that WFEO has been kind enough to provide for the report entitled Engineering for Sustainable Development, which focused on engineering innovations that are shaping the world and highlighted the crucial role of engineering in achieving the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. The report was most timely, not only because it clearly addressed the role of engineering in sustainable development, but also came a full 10 years after UNESCO's first engineering report. And we can say, perhaps, since the invention of the steam engine during the first industrial revolution, or even before that, engineering has underpinned the growth and transformation of economies. Engineering continues to be at the heart of the fourth industrial revolution to develop essential infrastructures that we're all familiar with, such as roads, railways, bridges, energy generation, digital networks, waste management, water supplies, as my colleague said, and sanitation, where big data and the Internet of Things are driving new efficiencies and innovation. We see examples and further potential for engineering innovations and scientific breakthroughs that give birth to new inventions and products that can really accelerate today's economic development of nations worldwide. However, as we all know, the world today faces a new set of challenges, not least of which stemming from climate change. And the world is witnessing rising sea levels and increasing frequency, intensity, and duration of extreme weather events, such as heat waves, droughts, and floods, and we can all see those in the news. And these pose serious threats to humans and to our natural world, and these changes increase the damage to and loss of property and cause disruptions to society, while also influencing plant and animal habitats and life cycle events such as migration and reproduction. Rising sea levels expressly threaten coastal communities and ecosystems that may not have the means to safeguard themselves or the resilience to these negative impacts. And the window to avoid the evident disruption to the natural balance of the world seems to be closing rapidly. Ladies and gentlemen, during this critical time, engineers not only have a key role in supporting the growth and development of economies, but also play a very important role in developing and implementing innovative technologies and systems to address these critical issues that the world is facing. Engineering expertise and innovation in climate change adaptation and mitigation are required to prepare for the effects of climate change by reducing the impacts, from strengthening water conservation programs, again we heard from my colleague before on that, and upgrading stormwater systems to developing early warning systems for extreme weather events. Of course, with increasing urbanisation and increasing populations, each country's requirements for development infrastructures and facilities increases, which in turn further deteriorates our non-renewable resources, the environment, and also can exacerbate the effects of climate change. And this is where the importance of minimising environmental impacts of economic development is more and more apparent today, and calls for engineering solutions that can address this apparent dichotomy between the ecological and economic needs to achieve sustainable development. Therefore, we see an increasing need for engineering expertise and innovation to be applied in developing sustainable infrastructures, green technologies and renewable energy, as well as in climate change adaptation and mitigation. As you all know, or as you may know, UNESCO was established at the Institution of Civil Engineers in London in the UK in, as we heard, 1968. And has always been, and UNESCO has always considered engineering to be a means to address its priorities and a critical aspect now in progressing towards the Sustainable Development Goals. And for the 2022 to 2025 period, UNESCO set up a new strategic objective to work towards sustainable societies and protecting the environment through the promotion of science, technology, innovation and natural heritage, where we've set targets for engineering capacity building with a focus on priority Africa and gender equality. And we've done a great deal of work in the engineering field from developing engineering education through individual and institutional capacity building projects, and improving the representation of women in engineering, building bridges to bridge the knowledge gap through capacity building projects and awards, to promoting intercultural cooperation by supporting international engineering organisations and NGOs, non-government organisations. And an exemplary case study of this is the support UNESCO provided in the creation of WFEO and the partnership which we've enjoyed since then. So among many other collaborations, together we've celebrated the achievements of engineers and their contributions to sustainability and to improve quality of life through the establishment of the World Engineering Day for Sustainable Development on the 4th of March, which was mentioned in the opening address, and the UNESCO African Engineering Week. And we can say this event here is symbolic of our partnership and the importance of engineering to address the challenges we're facing today. And this meeting is a good demonstration of a good example of how member states and NGOs can work together towards the objectives that serve the common good, and how the UNESCO WFEO partnership and its contribution to the Sustainable Development Goals are achieved by working with member states, especially on engineering, capacity building and education, and how it's relevant to a variety of regional and national contexts with regard to building more inclusive and responsible communities. So in conclusion, we can say for the world to progress sustainably, more engineers with adequate education and capacities are needed. Therefore, we all need to participate in encouraging more and more young men and women to take up careers in engineering and developing mechanisms to provide education and capacity building. UNESCO is proud to work with WFEO, dedicated to engineering for the benefit of society and for the global good. And we, of course, have the greatest confidence in the WFEO to continue to unite multidisciplinary engineering associations from around the world to achieve sustainable development goals and improve the quality of life. So UNESCO wishes WFEO great success for this meeting. And I take this opportunity to finally express our gratitude to the World Federation of Engineering Organisations for co-hosting this event and look forward to a continued, fruitful, close cooperation. Many thanks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ezra Clark, for those very kind remarks. I now have great pleasure in introducing the current WFEO President, Professor José Vieira, who will provide a general introduction, the role of WFEO, and the importance of bringing together the global community of engineers.
Thank you. Yes. I can... here. Okay. Dear Mr. Ezra Clark, Dr. Marlene Kanga, Dr. Gong Ke, so these are the past presidents of WFEO, and I want to say also a special for Mustafa Shehu, this our president-elect of WFEO. Excellencies, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It's my pleasure and honor to have some few words about WFEO, the role of the WFEO, and the importance of bringing together the global community of engineers. As a professor, I use a PowerPoint presentation. I hope that you enjoy it. So, my talk is divided into three main points: engineering, economic growth, and quality of life are some kind of synonymous. WFEO, our federation for a global engineering, and our ambitious program for 2030, the WFEO engineering plan. So I start with saying some words about the relationship of engineering, innovation, economic growth, and quality of life. And we can say, as we have already heard, the role of the engineers along these industrial revolutions, maybe these 4 centuries behind us, so with the first, second, third industrial revolution, and now we are in the 4th. It's amazing that all these revolutions are related to a new source of energy. And this, so we have the water and the steam, the electricity, gas, and oil after the nuclear power, and now is a very different revolution because we have no new source of energy, but digital technological way to do the things different from behind. And you see that engineer is always in the center of this innovation. So the problem now is that these waves of innovations are more close in the time and more specialized. So this is the challenges for the engineers and future developments. But you see, this is also one amazing thing that even the engineers and engineering is always on the base of this evolution, of this growth economy, this quality of life. Our task, our job is not so well recognized by society. And here I have 2 examples. For example, we have the steam that have the revolution of the communications, the transports, and so on. And the other picture is the tower here nearby, Eiffel Tower, that is a symbol of a very nice and big city, Paris, but maybe nobody or some few people knows that this is a piece of engineering. So this is Eiffel, a very known engineer that has this piece of art. But maybe if you go to the streets and ask for the creator of this piece of art, they are not connecting to an engineer. So this is maybe our fault, our difficulty to communicate, but okay, we will try to move in other direction. It's the same, for example, in this revolution about the new challenges of digitalization, internet, big data, robotics, artificial intelligence. All of these things are created by engineers, and yeah, we are not so well recognized by that. But we are also facing other common problems about the sustainability. So our creativity, our developments must be aware, because we have just one planet. We have another, maybe we have another, but not for us, of course. We must be very well that we must treat this development with this new world of sustainability to maintain the quality of life of people. But again, we have we are facing a paradox between wealth and poverty, and we know, everyone knows that good infrastructure is synonymous of wealth, and poor infrastructure is synonymous of poverty. And we can see some pictures that demonstrate this. So poor infrastructure needs poverty, and we have this. As we have already heard, 2 billion people that has no access to water, for example, and sanitation. And good infrastructures we have wealth. So this is a very different world that we must, is our task, our engineer community, to diminish these two worlds and to give the, it's not the same, but approximate the quality of life all of humanity. And you see, this is a very interesting graph from World Bank that correlates or relates the quality of life with the growth of the economy. So they are very intuitive that we have these gaps in our world. Now I will talk about just a few words also about our federation, WFEO, as a federation for a global engineering. We are the peak international body for professional engineering institutions. We were founded in 1968 under the auspices of this very important agency of United Nations, UNESCO. We have more than 100 national profession engineering institutions, 12 international and continental regional professional engineering institutions representing more or less about 30 million of engineers. Our work internally is very, very important through 10 committees and working groups that address various issues in engineering, and we have straight collaboration and cooperation with United Nations bodies and other international organizations. So idea about our national members and the covering of all the world with our national and international organizations. So as I said, we are internally committed to work in very specialized themes for engineering. So we have engineering and the environment, energy, education, information and communication, engineering and innovative technologies, engineering capacity building, disaster risk management, anti-corruption, women in engineering, young engineers, future leaders, water, UN Relations Committee, and a working group on global infrastructure report card. So those committees and working groups are hosted by different countries, different professional associations that you see in this presentation. Our relationships with United Nations agencies, you see here, we have very close links with UNESCO. We are in the same building of this organization, but we have also links with other agencies throughout the world in different agencies that you can see is in this slide as well. Our methodological approach is influencing a respected source or advice and guidance on engineering and technology, supporting the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, partnering with our international peers in engineering and science, growing engineering capacity and mobility, improving the ethical engineering practice and the diverse and inclusive profession, convening World Engineers events, and recognizing the excellence of engineer and in engineering. Some of our works with UNESCO, we have subscribed the Paris Declaration, advancing the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals through engineering in March 2018. We have a very intense work with UNESCO staff and not only UNESCO but other experts in this report, the engineering report for sustainable development. Also, to celebrate the World Engineering Day that Mr. Abou was talking about, we are now celebrating every year in 4th of March, this World Engineering Day. Next year, we'll see we have a very, very good program preparing a very nice session in Madrid next year, March to 4th, but also this is also celebrating in all other continents. So we know that some of our national members, namely Singapore and Japan, will have here a very interesting program as well. During these celebrations, we have also prepared a contest to young engineering students in universities. We call a World Engineering Day Hackathon, and also a live moment to have some events that are that can be broadcast over the world as well. And we have this this year, 2022, as you know, before this year we have a very difficult situation with the COVID pandemic, but now I think we are now coming again to good and interesting events like this one here. Now, our vision to the future, our engineering plan to 2030, that is based and focused on education. Education of engineers for developing, for sustainable development goals, yes. So this is a plan to develop engineering capacity for a sustainable world through partnerships with educators, government, industry, and professional engineering institutions. Is a strategic initiative to address the gap in engineering capacity and quality of engineering professionals, and we recognize that engineers are essential for sustainable development. Good engineering is essential achieving the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and it is consistent with the mission and the objectives of our federation. WFEO is leading and coordinating the plan with its international partners. And they are, I'll go here, there are several, I will say how many, and how we can name these institutions. So the principles of action of this engineering plan is supporting high-quality education, graduate outcomes that meet industrial needs, engineering qualifications that are recognized national and internationally for mobility of professionals, continuous professional development, capacity building for professional engineering institutions, support national and international registration, liaise with governments and establish an international platform for engineering standards under the auspices of WFEO and UNESCO. These are our principles for action for this plan to 2030. Capacity building is a very important issue for us, so creating and enabling environments with appropriate and legal frameworks, institutional development, including community participation, human resources development and strengthening of managerial systems, and education and professional experience as the main things required for engineering capacity. We have also launched this year a portal for continuing education. We call that WFEO Academy. This portal is free, is open, so you have here the link, and we have 100 language, I think. This is the Portuguese language, yeah? But there are more, more than 100 language. So this portal is our, well, in the future we can bring this more strength, so it depends on our will and our capacity. But this is already launched this year. The partnerships that I was talking about are UNESCO and other united bodies. national and international members of WFEO, and a series of international partners, namely the International Engineering Alliance, International Federation of Engineering Education Societies, Federation of International Consulting Engineers, International Network for Women Engineers and Scientists, International Center for Engineering Education, International Science and Technology and Innovation Center for South Cooperation, and International Science Council. Some of these bodies are very close to us, some others not so close, but we are trying to have these international partnerships with these very important institutions that also works in our field as well. Just to see, for example, what I said, this is a picture from people in the international accreditation systems. We have here a picture from our colleague Elizabeth Taylor about what are the countries that are already in this kind of systems. We have the European system, so NIA, and the International Engineering Alliance for Engineers. Just to finish my small, short talk, I think that a successful sustainable development agenda requires partnerships between governments, the private sector, and civil society. These inclusive partnerships built upon principles and values, a shared vision, and the shared goals that place people and the planet at the center are needed at the global, regional, national, and local level. This is why it is important to bring together the global community of engineers for the benefit of humanity and the environment. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Professor Vieira, for speaking so eloquently about our achievements and also giving us a great overview of the work to be done ahead. So now it gives me great pleasure to introduce Professor Gong Ke, immediate past president of the World Federation of Engineering Organizations, who's going to speak about from WFEO's creation to World Engineering Day for Sustainable Development, reflecting on UNESCO's and WFEO's shared accomplishments. Welcome.
Thank you, Marlene, and thanks to the inspiring presentations of the previous speakers. And I'm going to report briefly about the World Engineering Day, the engineering report, and I think okay, good. And about just to mention the name of and leave the content for Marlene to report in the following sessions about the graduate education, the graduate attributes and the profession competencies for the engineering education. First, World Engineering Day. Since United Nations adopted the 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda with 17 sustainable SDGs, engineering society realized our heavy duty and the crucial role to achieve these goals. So WFEO has made every effort to align our strategy with the Sustainable Development Agenda. As mentioned by Professor Vieira, the Engineering 2030 is the strategic plan of WFEO in line with the the United Nations agenda. And just as mentioned by the Secretary General of the United Nations, Engineer Antonio Guterres, he said in his congratulation letter to our 50 years anniversary of the WFEO, he said, please, we strive to achieve the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, the world's blueprint for building a future of peace and prosperity for all on a healthy planet, every one of the goals requires solutions rooted in science, technology, and engineering. So, as mentioned previously by Professor Vieira, the activities of WFEO is heavily rely on our technical committees, which is spread all over the world. For example, disaster risk management in Peru, and ICT in India, capacity building in Zimbabwe, and innovative technologies in China, water in Spain and Portugal, energy here in France, environment, climate change in United Kingdom. So we have all these committees, but all of them are focused on selected SDGs. So we really focus all of our activity on achieving the SDGs. And wicked by the SDGs in 2015, we take the opportunity of the 50 years anniversary of WFEO, which was founded under the auspice of UNESCO in 1868. We think we should have we should have a World Day for engineering for sustainable development, and to increase the awareness of the public to celebrate the importance of engineering and to celebrate the achievements of engineering for bettering the human life, and to mobilize engineers across the world to engage themselves deeply into the implementation of SDGs. So we have made the call to establish a World Day for engineering for sustainable development in this occasion of 50 years anniversary. And then in 2019, we come here and exactly in the same room, we have information meeting to the member states' permanent missions, and to show how important engineering for sustainable development, and the core support to establish this very important World Engineering Day for Sustainable Development. We got support from about 80 prestigious engineering organizations all over the world. And next, we got support from member states, Namibia, China, and so on. 40 member states has officially given the proposal to the Executive Council of UNESCO. And this initiative is unanimously adopted at the 40th General Conference of UNESCO in November 2019. Since then, the World Engineering Day is celebrated, next, every year, March 4th. That is the birthday of the World Federation of Engineering Organizations, WFEO. And we also say, next, March 4th for a sustainable future. Now, let me show you some data about the celebration since 2020. Although the pandemic prevented a lot of activities, we still have more than 400 celebrations happened in the different parts of the world, organized by engineering organizations, corporates, governments, United Nations bodies. So that's more than 400 celebrations in more than 80 countries. And in the first year, suddenly happened the COVID pandemic. We could not meet together here in UNESCO Headquarters. We have planned for that. Anyway, we got support. It is called high patronage of the French president, Mr. Macron. And also we got a nice video message from the DG of UNESCO, Ms. Ajourey. And she said, engineering has helped to share the world for millennia. And now, more than ever, the world needs engineering. And we also received the best wishes from the General Secretary of the United Nations, again, engineer Antonio Guterres. And here you can also see some organization supporters. And in the second year, a main event is held online on the World Engineering Day, and we have an annual theme of the World Engineering Day for Sustainable Development. For 2021, is Engineering for a Healthy Planet. And the main event is organized here online because of the pandemic. And here you see, on that event, the UNESCO second edition of engineering report is officially launched by Director General Ms. Azule, together with the Chinese Academy of Engineering, the president of Chinese Academy of Engineering, because this academy has donated the work. And also you see in the middle line is a team of WFEO to represent, to introduce the contents of the engineering report, and then followed a roundtable discussion of young engineers all over the world, female and male engineers. So additional to this main event online, we have a lot of events around the world, hundreds of them, and reach tens of millions public to see this. And this year, next. This year, we have a theme called Build Back Wider, Engineering the Future. And here you see a lot of celebrations in different countries organized by different organizations, university, corporation, engineering organizations, and so on and so forth. Next. And we have two main events. One is mentioned, both of them mentioned by Professor Vieira. Next. One is the hackathon, World Engineering Hackathon for Sustainable Development. We have three challengers. The first is about material, about how to treat the solid waste. The second is how to how to use. I forgot the word. It's a biomimicry. Yeah, to learn from the nature and to treat with the sustainable development. And the third one is about water. And we got 125 teams from 23 countries in a short time, just 3 months, yeah, in short time. And they built teams. 90% of them are engineering students. And the number one, the number one prize, the first prize is won by a team with 3 girls from Philippines. So, yeah, congratulations to our Philippines. And the second is from Canada, and the third is from Africa, Kenya. So the next is the 24 hours live broadcasting, streaming the messages of engineering achievements, the engineering's role for sustainable development. And we have different hubs in different parts of the world. And we have made 194 videos to show this content. And you see Marlene is in the central studio to make this work. And next one. To summarize the activities, we have counted the media outreach. In the first year, that is 17 million. The second year is more than 32 million. And this year, we have reached, please, reached more than, 56 million without China. Because in China, we have reached more than 100 million. So that is, next. Here you see the growing number of the sponsors from cooperation from engineering organizations. And to summarize the World Engineering Day, I have to say the World Engineering Day has increased the public awareness of the significant role of engineering and engineers in realizing the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. The World Engineering Day has rendered guidance in promoting sustainable development by engineering, especially by UNESCO Engineering Report, which has been further propagated by World Engineering Day celebration activities. The World Engineering Day has created unique, precious opportunities for engineering community to mobilize engineers engaging themselves deeply in implementing SDGs and to attract the young taking engineering as a career. And the World Engineering Day has enhanced the cooperation between the engineering community with the government, industry, and academic societies. So that's about World Engineering Day. And then I will take some time to briefly report about the World Engineering Report, the second edition of UNESCO's World Engineering Report. Here you see the structure of the content. This report consists of 5 chapters and an introduction. To summarize the whole report, I think this report highlights next leveraging the crucial role of engineering in delivering the SDGs. That's the first chapter. And then the report focusing on engineering innovations and stressing the transition of engineering profession itself to meet the requirement of sustainable development. And the report indicates the capacity building is a continuous process and is key for achieving SDGs by engineering. And the report recognizing, analyzing the regional particularities while promoting inter-regional cooperation. So let me just highlight some points. First, leveraging the crucial role of engineering in delivering the SDGs. Actually, Marlene has wrote that chapter to give examples, show how engineers and engineering can help each of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. For example, for energy, engineers have developed the energy generation and are now innovating low-cost solutions from renewable sources. Another example is that engineering has transformed food production through mechanized agriculture, fertilizer, and pesticides. And the engineers are working now on green, low-carbon, and smart agriculture. Engineers need to ensure that women benefit from new technologies and also participate in the technological revolution, so no one is left behind. We work a lot to promote women engineering. And also engineers are essential for sustainable water supply and sanitation system for the whole world. So just a few examples out of the report to show every SDG needs engineering contribution, and engineering can contribute to every SDGs. The second highlight is the focusing on engineering innovations and stressing the transition of engineering itself. The chapter 3 is dedicated on engineering innovation. That is the longest chapter of the whole report. And the 9 sections. Among them, it is called on combating COVID-19 and improving the human health. Krishnan has helped to write that section. And also more actions to adapt and mitigate climate emergency, promoting energy transformation. That's another very important topic, and many colleagues in this room has contributed to this section. And also building smart cities and big data and artificial intelligence to promote sustainable development. Our India colleagues, Chinese colleagues has contributed a lot in this part. And also transform engineering profession for sustainable development, to have interdisciplinary collaboration, to have strengthened ICT skills, to have necessary knowledge of sustainable development for all engineering profession is mentioned in this report. Next. And the report indicating capacity building is a continuous process and is key for achieving SDGs by engineering. Engineering education and capacity building is key to enable engineers and engineering for SDGs. The report analyzed the trends and challenges for engineering education. And they has described in the report a new approach to learning, switching from a teacher-centric focus to one that is more student-centered and problem-based education. So that is analyzed and described in this report. And very important that engineering education in campus is only a part of the capacity building. The professional development is another very, very important part. And the quality security accreditation play a very important role to ensure the quality of engineering education. Finally, I would like to say in this report, a number of recommendations have been mentioned in this. And that means, next. There's much more to be done to implement these recommendations. One concrete action to implement the recognition is to be mentioned later by Marlene Kanga, is the updating the graduate attributes and professional competencies framework. That's the benchmark standard for engineering education. Together with IEA and many other partners, we have updated this, and that is a guideline for the further engineering education. So I will stop here with sincere thanks to all your support. And WFEO is looking forward to work with you closer and to take concrete actions in your country to leveraging engineering for sustainable development. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Gong Ke, for that very comprehensive review of our journey for World Engineering Day. And it's exciting to reflect on the twists and turns. I want to thank some of our colleagues who are here, who joined us 31 January 2019 to address the UNESCO member states and to galvanize the united action from the member states. We could not have done it without you to put it on the executive board agenda. Now that we have the day, this is an opportunity for all of us, both our WFEO members and UNESCO member states, to celebrate this day, to engage with the community, and to get more young people to consider engineering a career for that better, sustainable world. So I think that's very, very important. And thank you also to the authors who are here today of the UNESCO Engineering Report, who rallied in a very short time frame to produce an excellent blueprint on the work of engineers. So thank you, Professor Gong Ke, for that. Thank you very much. We now move on to the second session. Before I leave, I wanted to say we have simultaneous translation into French, and I think it is on channel 3 for those who would like to use that. Thank you.